What's up, everybody? Happy Friday. Welcome into another draft episode of the Bark and Brown Show. I'm your host, Jacob, joined by the awesome Mr. Casey Kinnamon from Dog Pound Daily. How are you doing tonight, man?
I am doing excellent, Jacob. I'm excited to talk this running back class with you. Anytime I get a chance to jump on here and talk ball with you, I'll take that opportunity every time, man.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate the flexibility that you always provide when I make last minute recording changes to the times, and then I'm late after I move the time up and everything. So I really appreciate that, guys. We are brought to you as always by our friends over at Homage Apparel. I was looking for my Cavs shirt, but apparently it's in the washer or something. I must have worn it when I forgot to wear it, that I had worn it because I wanted to celebrate the home court through the first round of the playoffs. But I do have the Myles Garrett, Nick Chubb NFL Jam shirt on. So I feel like it's a good consolation prize, right?
You can't go wrong with that one, man. That's a nice one.
And listen, if you want to check them out, Homage, best in the business, go in the link down in the description down below. They're soft, comfortable. Guardians, Cavs, they got all of them. Go over there and check it out. All right, Casey, man, we've got to talk about what I think is the deepest position in the draft. And I think everybody would have put them at this position at least top three, I think, rather you have them 1, 2, or 3. And that's the running back class. And I was actually didn't realize till I asked you last week to do this episode. I was like, wait, we have not done the running back class. Like I have not even done a video on that. So I'm super excited. Like I legitimately think that there are going to be starters up until the beginning. Even I think some day 3 picks are going to be down the road starters in day 3 of it. Like that's just how deep I think that class is. Overall, where are you at on this class as a whole?
Well, I'll preface it by saying this. I think as content creators and writers who cover the Browns, by not having these first round picks these last couple years, we're like sharpening our blades. You know what I mean? Like AB has us out here in the weeds. We're in the creek beds flipping over rocks looking for stuff. But when we talk the running backs, man, you're finding value late, so that's kind of where like this pays off, like when you're like digging deep. So yeah, this is a very deep class, man. I think you're going to get value tremendously late. You're going to find guys in the 5th and 6th rounds and normally would go in 3 and 4, the end of day 2, beginning of day 3, so I agree with you. It's a very deep class, and I think that there's going to be tremendous value up until the middle of round 6, probably.
Yeah, I think you've seen how, I think if you want to know how the NFL feels about this class, look at the free agency for running backs right now. A lot of them are just having to wait, until after the draft to see who doesn't get one and that sort of thing. And that just shows you. And even the guys that have signed, there really hasn't been money in the running back class. Nothing. It's like I was sitting here thinking about that because that was a point I wanted to make and start with up the show. And I'm trying to think, is there an exception to that? And there isn't. I can't think of a contract that you went, oh, look, that guy got paid this offseason as a running back. So, all right, man, we both got 5. We know there's probably going to be some overlap, and we got some other names if we do get at the overlap. So, man, I'm going to start from the top of my list and work my way down because that's how I made my slideshow. But you can start wherever you want, man. So give me your first guy.
My first guy is going to be Tyjae Spears. I know. There's no way he's not on your list, but I mean, come on, man.
Well, he's number 1, so go ahead.
You know what I'm saying? I can't be mad at that. Dude, you're looking at someone talking, he's only around 200 pounds. I think that might be like the one detraction. He's around that 201 mark, I think, 5'10". But this dude is super twitched up. Like he is sudden. And what I like every rep, he's all in. I mean, there's no half-assing it. This dude is full. He's full go. His ability to show himself and take himself away from defenders and not get hit cleanly. He definitely is the dynamic type of running back I think the Browns need to be in on. I need to see a little better ball security at times, and I think he needs to work on his pass pro. He got better during the Senior Bowl, but that's still a question mark for me. I'd like to see him develop a stiff arm in the open field because I think he could have 2 to 3 more tuds if he would have just been able to just fend off that last second guy, because he's got really good speed, but I wouldn't call it exactly home run. You know what I mean? He can be caught from behind. But if you're looking at someone who I believe is I think he's going to be available when the Browns pick at 74.
I think so.
I think that he's going to be right in that 74 maybe up to 111 range, depending on how it falls and how many running backs go before him. But yeah, he's a dynamic player, man. He's a lot of fun to watch. I loved his film. And I know you're not supposed to put a lot of stock in like bowl games, but that game against USC, come on, dude. Like I watched it so many times. Just like I don't know if he'll ever be a workhorse type back. You know what I mean? But I think he's a complementary weapon. And I think that's someone that the Browns should definitely be kicking the tires on.
If you're looking for a dude that can come in and especially like, you know how the Browns like to kind of rest Nick Chubb in the third to get him loaded up for this is that guy. This is that guy that does what Kareem Hunt did, but he's not quite as powerful as Kareem Hunt, but he's more dynamic than Kareem Hunt. Like the thing that gets me, if you want to see a perfect example of what he can do with his physical tools, you go watch those one-on-one reps where he was running routes and he was embarrassing linebackers, good linebackers. Ivan Pace Jr., who I think is a really good linebacker, he made him look like a fool at the Senior Bowl. And it's like, I think I wrote this down a million times as I studied his tape. I just wrote dynamic. That's what he is. You're right. He does not have the home run speed of one of the guys I'm going to mention a little bit later on, but he can run away from defenders. He's not going to outrun a dude with a great angle necessarily, but he does have quick feet. And I think he's his cuts, man, he's a great cutter. And that's both running routes and when he's in the open field. And I think you look at this guy and you look at everything, the complete package and what he could bring to what the Browns have and already in Nick Chubb and Jerome Ford. And you just go, if you are looking to just stack the offense with dynamic playmakers, Tyjae Spears is the way to go.
Yeah, I'll add one thing. Very comfortable running out of the shotgun. And if the Browns are going to be transitioning more to that aerial attack, I think that's very beneficial. And he's adept at both zone and gap. So I think he'd be a perfect fit.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that 100%. I don't know, man. It's one of those things where I watch a lot of draft stuff with orange and brown glasses on. And just the reason he is number one for me in Browns running back prospects it just is what you don't necessarily have. And I think Jerome Ford is a very nice player. I think they're different kind of players. And if you're looking for that pass catcher, and Jerome Ford can catch the ball. But if you're just looking for a guy that can go out there and do what Kareem Hunt did to some of those linebackers from time to time out wide and out of the backfield, we've watched Tyjae Spears do it to linebackers. Like we've seen it. We watched it. So that's number one for both of us, man. So you're back on the clock.
Okay, here I'm about to steal one of your guys. There's no way I'm not. Deuce Vaughn, man.
Oh.
Deuce Vaughn might have the funnest tape, and he's so easy to root for. But both of those things stem from his lack of size. Like it's easy to root for this guy, but like to watch him play, he actually is able to utilize that size near the line of scrimmage. He's able to kind of hide and find crevices, hit the open field, and then I kind of equate it to like you ever see a fight in junior high where there's a big guy fighting a small guy, and the big guy can't win because if you win, you beat up the small guy. But if you lose, you look like a fool. I think linebackers are going to feel the exact same way about Deuce Vaughn. He's a problem. And then you look at what he can do in the pass game. Man, it's not just swing routes and screen routes. It's wheel routes. It's that Texas angle route that he can make guys look foolish. And if he's an outlier, man. That's like he makes Darren Sproles look beefy. You know what I mean? We're talking 5'5" and a beefed up 170. He's not like that was to gain weight for the combine. He's probably not going to play at that. But he has exceptional contact balance for someone that size. There's just he just does a lot of things you like to see, and I think if properly utilized, you can weaponize a player like him, and he's a mismatch. Flat out, he's a mismatch. Now, there's going to be some things he can do. Like if you're asking him to be in pass pro, dude, he lacks the ass for pass pro. There's no way around it. But if you're having him chip on an edge and get out in a route, you can work around that kind of stuff. But yeah, Deuce Vaughn, man, like his film was so fun, and I end up watching more tape on him than any of the other running backs just because I kept enjoying it, man. It was just fun to watch.
The thing with and I'll give a shout out to our boy Tyler Johnson. Deuce Vaughn, no matter what, is Tyler's saying of the week. He's been pounding the table here on Network 216 for that for quite some time, and as you can see, I did not know Casey's list going into this. I did put together my 5 in a slideshow, and as you can tell, there is a picture here. So I had Deuce Vaughn number 3. There's actually a guy I have a little bit above him, but what do you want, man? A 4.44? Like he's got the speed. You know, it's borderline elite, but if you're running in the 4.4s, you're fast. You are fast. You said it perfectly, him hiding behind people. It's exactly, and then you mentioned the name I was going to mention in Darren Sproles. That's what Darren Sproles did. You couldn't find him. You're like, where is Darren Sproles so I can make these tackles? Well, the problem is, if you don't know where Deuce Vaughn is, same as Darren Sproles, he's going to turn those jets on. He's going to leave you in the dirt.
Yeah, it's too late. It's too late if you can't find him.
Yeah, if you're like, now where did you go? Like, it's like, oh, well. But I don't, you're right 100%. The size, it just bothers me at 5'6", 5'5", 5'6". Yeah, 175, the beefed up 175, as you said. You look at the 9 touchdowns, the 1,500 yards, this 5.3 yards per carry, almost 400 receiving yards. The production's there. He's a versatile. He's a mismatch, like you said. Like, this dude can run routes. He can stick his. He could. The thing I love the most when you watch him, it's very similar to Tyjae Spears. I just think his is even more impressive the way he does it. He sticks his foot in the ground and he goes. And there's some vision stuff there where I think he misses some holes here and there, but I also think he's got a decent amount of patience for a guy who is a speedy back, right? Like, because you see those speed backs, they don't wait for something to develop. They just want to hit the home run. Well, Deuce Vaughn will wait. I mean, there's some issues here and there but and nobody's going to be perfect. We're talking about 3rd, 4th, 5th round prospects at this point. Nobody's going to be perfect, but you're looking at a guy that has the speed to not be a patient back, but the football IQ and intelligence to be a patient back. And I'm just saying, if you are already somewhat of a patient runner and you go to Cleveland to meet the most patient runner I've ever seen in Nick Chubb, you're going to be like, oh, so that's why you do that. Okay. And then all of a sudden you go to another level, right? And it's like, okay. And I just think with Deuce Vaughn, again, the versatility is key. And what does Andrew Berry love? The freaking versatility, man. You're talking about a guy that, I mean, I'll play him as a slot wide receiver. I don't give a crap. I mean, that's what he is at times. I mean, he can do that sort of thing. And you're talking about a wide receiver room where we're still a little bit uncertain about what's going on. Well, let's get some rotation in there. Let's add some running back depth, some wide receiver depth. That's what I love about the defensive class is you got all these slot players that are also outside corners and deep safeties. That's what Deuce Vaughn and Tyjae Spears are. They're running backs that can also play at the wide receiver position. And I'm with you, man. I am all over Deuce Vaughn. I'm not quite as high on him as Tyler Johnson is, but if you want to hear a pretty good breakdown of Deuce Vaughn, Tyler Johnson had one here on the network last week.
I do have a couple concerns, though.
Yeah.
Over 750 touches in college. That's a lot of tread. That's something I try to, when I look at a prospect, I think you want to be around that 500 mark, which gives you enough to give, like Tyjae Spears. It's enough to give you a good sample size, but not enough where the tread's already started to come off the tire before you get to the next level. But he doesn't allow a lot of clean shots on him, so he hasn't taken a ton of big hits. And because he's such an outlier, I think a team could take a chance and go earlier than I think the Browns will be willing to go because he is such an outlier. I think that is a real concern. But I also want to say he only returned kicks as a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't see him after that. That's something I would love to see him do because of his skill set. I would love to see what he could do in the kickoff game, just because I think, not just because of the Darren Sproles, comparisons, which are there, and I think they're, rightly so. Yeah. But I think that is another dimension he could probably bring to the team.
And I'm looking at that for like I'm very on the fence about what you could get even if he makes the roster in terms of Jakeem Grant. Like I'm very back and forth. I don't know where I don't know. Like I'll make, when camp opens up, I do it every year. I'll make a 53-man roster prediction. Right now, I couldn't tell you if I'd put him on it or take it off. And I know there's still players to be added in the draft. But if they find a player like, if they think Deuce Vaughn can come and be that returner again, the PFF mocked them Jaden Reed today, who is a returner. Like you could go and get, that could make Reed more appealing to the Browns because they're uncertain. You know, Jakeem Grant's 30, coming off an Achilles tear, and he's, when you're talking about a small, quick, agile cutter like that, you're just like, oh, what the hell what are we going to get, and when are we going to get it? I definitely think I can see that. So let's roll right on along, man. We're 2 for 2. Can we go 3 for 3? What do you got?
Well, if you said that was your third, why don't you give me your second now?
You want to?
My second. Yeah,
okay.
Give me your second.
All right. It's Roschon Johnson from Texas, man. Like, I love Roschon Johnson. I very borderline wanted to put him at number 1 because it's not necessarily that I think he's the best running back in the Browns range as much as he's just my favorite prospect at the position. And I love Tyjae Spears. Like, that's nothing against him. I love Roschon Johnson because the dude's